Welcome to the Special Forces in World War II podcast, transmitting on this frequency. This broadcast is your dedicated channel for comprehensive intelligence regarding World War II Special Forces operations. Our transmissions encompass in-depth analysis of their strategic maneuvers, cutting-edge equipment, illustrious biographies, and an array of pertinent subjects. The orchestration of these transmissions is executed by the expert team of the Special Forces in World War II website, a squad deeply immersed in the historical theatre. For further insights, visual aids, and captured moments frozen in time, navigate to our virtual headquarters at worldwar2-soft.com. Your immersion into the front lines of knowledge awaits. Over and out. Welcome back, esteemed listeners, to another riveting episode of the Special Forces in World War II podcast. We are thrilled to have you join us as we continue our exploration of one of the most daring operations of the war, Unternehmen Eiche. In our previous episode, we peeled back the layers of intrigue surrounding the events leading up to the arrest of Benito Mussolini. From Hitler's urgent directive at the Wolf's Lair to the collaboration between General de Flieger Kurt Student and Otto Skorzeny, we dissected the meticulous preparations undertaken by the German forces in their mission to locate and rescue Mussolini. As Student and his forces meticulously planned the rescue mission, Skorzeny's intelligence operations played a pivotal role in pinpointing Mussolini's whereabouts. However, amidst the coordination between different units and the skepticism surrounding Skorzeny's claims, questions arose about the true extent of his involvement. Now, as we embark on the second part of our series, prepare to be swept away by the adrenaline-fueled climax of Unternehmen Eiche. Join us as we delve deep into the heart of the action and witness the audacious assault on Gran Sasso Mountain. Together, we will unravel the truth behind Skorzeny's claims of valor and uncover the untold stories of courage and sacrifice that shaped this historic operation. So buckle up, dear listeners, as we journey into the heart of one of World War II's most audacious special forces operations, Unternehmen Eiche. Get ready for an immersive experience that will leave you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. But first, let's recap the previous episode. As Italy began to falter on all military fronts, the political support for the fascist leader Benito Mussolini waned, eventually leading to his arrest on July 25, 1943. Just one day later, on July 26, 1943, Hitler issued a directive at the Wolf's Lair, instructing General der Flieger Kurt Student to rush to Rome with available parachute troops to rescue Mussolini, who was believed to be handed over to the Americans. Student's primary objective was Mussolini's rescue, with the secondary goal of seizing control of Rome, if possible. Heinrich Himmler convinces Hitler to allow SS troops to participate, nominating Otto Skorzeny for the task. Skorzeny claims Hitler ordered him to lead the operation, emphasizing the urgency of rescuing Mussolini. While the German Fallschirmjäger are renowned for their special missions, Skorzeny's Sonderverband, ZBV Friedenthal, is a newly formed unit not experienced in such operations. Undertaking a complex mission like Unternehmen Eiche requires extensive experience, which Skorzeny's team lacks. General Student seeks assistance in locating Mussolini, aligning with Skorzeny's intelligence operations. Although not officially attached to Skorzeny's team, other German units cooperate and provide support based on his intelligence. On July 27, 1943, General Kurt Student and Otto Skorzeny fly to Rome to meet with General Feldmarschall Albert Kesselring. Scorzeny is tasked with locating Mussolini and closely collaborates with SS Sturmbannführer Kappler, who has connections to the Italian police, and SS Obersturmbannführer Dollmann, the liaison officer for the Reichssicherheitshauptamt in Rome. However, the Germans initially lack complete intelligence and are unaware of Mussolini's captivity near General Kesselring's headquarters. Simultaneously, Mussolini is transferred from Rome to the island of Ponza. By July 30th, 1943, SS Obersturmführer Karl Radl selects 40 men from the SS Sonderverband ZBV Friedenthal to join the search for Mussolini. They arrive in Rome but struggle without local contacts. The German police and Sicherheitsdienst step in, bribing Carabinieri officers. Intelligence suggests Mussolini has been moved from Ponza to La Spezia. August 7, 1943, sees Otto Scorzeny preparing a rescue attempt in La Spezia, but he receives news of Mussolini's earlier relocation, prompting the mission's cancellation. Subsequent investigations reveal flaws in Scorzeny's intelligence. Mussolini was never on that island. Nevertheless, Mussolini is moved from Ponza to the island of La Maddalena off the coast of Sardinia on August 8, 1943. In mid-August, Scorzeny receives intelligence from German Wehrmacht Captain Huneeus, who was collaborating with the Italian army regarding a special prisoner held in La Maddalena. Disguised, Scorzeny and SS Obersturmführer Wager travel to the island by minesweeper to gather information. By August 26, 1943, Scorzeny and Wager are in La Maddalena, where they discover a grocer's daily delivery to Villa Weber, suspected of holding Mussolini captive. Scorzeny engages the grocer, speculating on Mussolini's fate. The grocer claims to have seen Mussolini earlier that day, confidently asserting he's still alive. Prompted by Scorzeny's investigations, Mussolini is flown from Maddalena to Lago di Bracciano by an Italian seaplane on August 28, 1943. A few days later, on September 1, 1943, Mussolini arrives at the lower cable car station at Gran Sasso Mountain, transported by car and then cable car to Hotel Campo Imperatore. German intelligence loses track of Mussolini's whereabouts until Kappler discovers a clue in a recorded phone conversation with the police chief, subsequently relayed to Student and Scorzeny. Adding further complexity to the situation, U.S. Major General Maxwell D. Taylor's secret arrival in Italy on September 7, 1943, to negotiate the pending armistice with the Badoglio government raises the stakes. On September 8, 1943, following Italy's public surrender to the Allied powers, German forces swiftly moved to occupy Rome and other regions in Italy. This temporary diversion briefly shifts attention away from the mission to rescue Mussolini. However, with gathered intelligence indicating Mussolini's imprisonment at a mountaintop hotel, General der Flieger Kurt Student grows concerned that Mussolini may be handed over to the Western Allies. Consequently, he redirects efforts back to the rescue mission. 3 separate reconnaissance missions are launched, each independent and uncoordinated. Lieutenant Leo Krutov is dispatched by Student to the Hotel Imperatore, disguised as a searcher for potential convalescent sites for German troops. SS Obersturmführer Erich Priebke is sent by Kappler, while Scorzeny, accompanied by his deputy Karl Radl, conducts aerial reconnaissance in a Heinkel 111 bomber. All 3 missions confirm Mussolini's captivity at the Hotel Gran Sasso. On September 11, 1943, General der Flieger Student confirms Mussolini's location at Gran Sasso and assigns Major Otto-Harald Mors to plan a rescue operation. Despite the tight time frame, Mors and Oberleutnant Freiherr Georg von Berlepsch expertly devise a plan involving 12 gliders landing near the hotel, a result of Scorzeny's reconnaissance mission days earlier. A second force, under Major Mors' command, secures the lower cable car station, exploring options to extract Mussolini safely. Initially excluded from the operation, Scorzani insists on his involvement, claiming personal commission from the Führer. Despite initial reluctance, Student agrees, enraging von Berlepsch. Scorzani further asserts his presence by demanding additional personnel and interfering with planning, including bringing a photographer and journalist. The inclusion of Scorzani's men alters the original plan, reducing the number of participating Fallschirmjägers from 90 to 72. Claims by Scorzani and Radl of their unit's attire as Fallschirmjägers are refuted by photographic evidence, suggesting an attempt to inflate their role. Photographers and journalists Toni Schneider and Bruno von Kaiser provide these crucial insights into the assault and the disputed role of Scorzani and his men. With this, the stage is set for Unternehmen Eiche. Let's move ahead to September 12, 1943, the start of the operation. At 3 o'clock, the ground operation of Unternehmen Eiche is launched. The ground column under the command of Major Otto-Harald Mors, heading towards Gran Sasso, takes a longer route due to the possibility of encountering Italian roadblocks with troops still resisting the German forces. This alternative route means that the large column attracts attention. Police Prefect of L'Aquila, Rudolfo Biancorosso, decides to radio the head of the Carabinieri Inspector General Giuseppe Gueli at Hotel Campo Imperatore. Gueli goes down to the lower cable car station at Fonte Cerreto to receive the warning from Biancorosso. Upon returning to the upper station, Gueli increases the station guard to 40 men. However, he does not warn his officers to raise the alarm, except for asking some of the guards to prepare mules in case they need to use them to bring Mussolini down the side of the mountain if the Germans capture the lower cable car stations. At approximately 14 o'clock, the ground column of Fallschirmjäger reaches the lower cable car station. A brief firefight breaks out. However, the Italian Carabinieri personnel who are outgunned are quickly scattered. By 14:17, the Germans radio the mission completion signal back to the operation headquarters, indicating that they have successfully completed their mission in Unternehmen Eiche. Now it falls upon the men of the glider-borne assault to carry out their mission. The glider-borne assault also encounters a delay at the beginning of the operation. The takeoff from Pratica di Mare airfield south of Rome is postponed due to the late arrival of the gliders. Additionally, only 10 out of the expected 12 gliders arrive, compelling Student to further reduce the team size. The glider assault of Unternehmen Eiche commences between 13:05 and 13:11. Within that time period, 3 waves of 3 gliders and one of 1 glider take off from the military airfield Pratica di Mare, situated 30 kilometers south of Rome. Each glider is towed by a Henschel 126. Oberleutnant von Berlepsch, the commander of the airborne operation, occupies the first glider of the initial wave of 3 gliders. Scorzani and his men from the Sonderverband, ZBV Friedenthal, are positioned in the 4th and 5th gliders of the second wave. To gain extra height before crossing the nearby Albanian mountains, the leader of the formation in the leading aircraft, Captain Languth, with von Berlepsch in tow, executes an extra loop before crossing the mountains. However, the pilots of the second wave decide not to perform this maneuver, deeming it unnecessary and unwilling to risk jeopardizing the predetermined arrival time at the destination. As a result, Scorzani ends up leading the formation. In his memoirs, however, Scorzani claims that he personally deviated from the plan. He asserts that he convinced the pilot of his assault glider to break away from the formation because he aimed to be the first to reach Mussolini. It is a fact that around 14:05, the first glider lands outside the hotel, carrying Otto Scorzani and his men. As he recounts, his glider touches down just 15 meters away from the Hotel Campo Imperatore. After a rough landing, Skorzeny rushes uphill towards the hotel, forgetting to bring his submachine gun and failing to issue orders to his men. General Soletti, also aboard the same glider, follows Skorzeny in his rush towards the hotel. In a bold move, he instructs the Italian Carabinieri troops in their own language to stand down and refrain from firing their weapons, warning them of the penalty of death for committing treason. This action further confuses the Italian guards, who are already disoriented by the recent armistice and find themselves under attack by their former allies. Hoping to gain entry into the building, Skorzeny opens the first door he encounters, believing it would lead him into the hotel. To his dismay, he finds himself in a dead-end room housing telephone switching equipment and a surprised operator. In frustration, Skorzeny claims to have kicked a chair and smashed the radio with the butt of his MP-28. Skorzeny is then joined by two SS non-commissioned officers armed with MP-28 submachine guns, and together they start searching for the entrance to the hotel around the rear of the building. Meanwhile, another glider arrives, crash-landing about 100 meters in front of the hotel. Although the arrival of the Fallschirmjäger in this second glider benefits the German operation, Skorzeny and his team have already caused the element of surprise to be lost. When the raid begins, Inspector General Giuseppe Guelli, who is taking a nap, is awakened by his men who report the glider attack. Upon looking out of the window and seeing the German Fallschirmjäger running towards the hotel, he yells, "Don't shoot!" to the Carabinieri guards below his window, causing confusion since the guards are about to set up a defense. Italian second-in-command, Tenente Faiola, takes charge and rushes up to Mussolini's room to personally guard him. He contemplates whether Mussolini should be shot if the German troops enter the building. However, sensing the danger, Mussolini tells Faiola that if he kills the former prime minister, the German troops will likely execute the entire Carabinieri force in retaliation. This seems to convince Faiola to spare Mussolini's life. Shortly after, the remaining gliders arrive, and the Fallschirmjäger follow their instructions, surrounding the hotel and securing the area in preparation for von Berlepsch's glider to land. Despite the initial setbacks caused by Skorzeny's team, the German soldiers successfully mount the operation. Once von Berlepsch arrives with his platoon, he confirms that his troops have taken their positions and proceeds with some of his men towards the hotel. Oberleutnant von Berlepsch reports to Major Mors, who then takes the cable car to the hotel. By that time, Skorzeny has already located Mussolini inside the hotel. Around this time, according to Skorzeny's memoirs, Mussolini appears at the front window of the building. Skorzeny yells at him to move away from the window to avoid drawing fire from the German troops. As Skorzeny and his men reach the front entrance of the hotel, which is blocked from the inside with furniture, making it difficult for the SS men to enter. The Italian guards outside the building are standing around confused or have lowered their weapons altogether. Skorzeny climbs up the side of the building and reaches Mussolini's room from the outside. Skorzeny tells Mussolini, "Duce, the Führer sent me to free you." Mussolini responds, "I knew that my friend Adolf Hitler would not have abandoned me." It is about 14:15, approximately 10 minutes since Skorzeny landed. Skorzeny claims he and his men use rifle butts to fight their way out of the hotel. Together, they leave the hotel, with Mussolini wearing a black coat, his fedora pulled down over his face. However, other eyewitnesses and photographs describe a different scenario. They depict Mussolini coming out, surrounded by Italian and German soldiers, with Skorzeny following the group. While walking out, the Italians are still carrying their weapons. These witnesses say there are no signs of any Italian combativeness. Photographic evidence from Gran Sasso also shows Scorzani carrying only a Walther PPK pistol, despite his claim that he used the butt of his submachine gun to smash the radio of the Italian guardsmen. This inconsistency suggests that Scorzani's account of the events are false. Additionally, the fact that Scorzani's men were likely unprepared for their participation in Unternehmen Eiche further reinforces this conclusion. At 14:45, Major Otto-Harald Mors, the commander of the operation, arrives at the hotel by cable car. After taking several promotional photographs of the Free Mussolini and his liberators, they decide it's time to evacuate him. The plan to land a light plane near the lower cable car station is abandoned when the aircraft's wheel buckles upon landing. Forced to opt for the riskier option, they decide to land the light plane next to the hotel itself. General Student's pilot, Hauptmann Heinrich Gerlach, lands his aircraft around 14:55. German troops, assisted by the Italian guardsmen, prepare the field in front of the hotel for takeoff by clearing obstacles and boulders as best as they can. Hauptmann Heinrich Gerlach is assigned to fly Mussolini out with a Fieseler 156 C3 Storch, which only has room for one extra passenger. However, Scorzani insists on accompanying the dictator, citing Hitler's orders. Despite the cramped space, Scorzani forces himself into the tiny aircraft, wedging behind Mussolini in the passenger seat. At 15:15, the Storch begins its takeoff, but struggles to lift off the ground, rolling perilously towards the abyss. Miraculously, the pilot manages to gain altitude just in time. Major Mors then reports over the radio to General Student, "Mission accomplished, Duce flown out." Unternehmen Eiche is completed. Mussolini and Scorzani arrive at Pratica di Mare, near Rome, at 16:15. From there, they are transferred to a He-111 bomber and flown to Vienna, Austria. Here, Mussolini spends the night at the Hotel Imperial. At Gran Sasso, Major Mors orders his men to destroy the gliders by fire to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. By 19 o'clock, they have left the mountaintop using the cable car. At the Imperial Hotel in Vienna, Scorzani calls his SS boss, Heinrich Himmler, to share the news. This is followed by an ecstatic phone call from Hitler, who promotes Scorzani to SS Sturmbannführer. Hitler also orders a local general staff colonel of the army to decorate him that very same day. Shortly before midnight, Scorzani is decorated by the colonel in the name of Adolf Hitler with the Ritterkreuz des Eisernen Kreuzes. This marks the first time that this highly prized decoration is awarded on the day it was earned. On September 13, 1943, in the morning hours, the German troops depart from the lower cable car station at Fonte Cerreto, along with the motor column that transported the ground assault force, effectively bringing an end to Unternehmen Eiche. Meanwhile, Scorzani and Mussolini fly from Vienna, Austria to Munich, Germany. Upon their arrival at Riem Airport in Munich, Mussolini is greeted by his wife, Donna Rachele, and their two children, Anna Maria and Romano. Emotions run high as Mussolini embraces his family after the tumultuous events. Subsequently, Mussolini and Scorzani take up residence at the Reich government guest house in Munich. They remain in Munich until September 15, 1943, likely reflecting on the success of Unternehmen Eiche and the events that unfolded thereafter. On September 15, 1943, Mussolini and Scorzani are transported to the Führer headquarters, also known as the Wolf's Lair, located in Rastenburg, East Prussia. There, they are welcomed by Adolf Hitler and Mussolini's son-in-law, Count Gian Galeazzo Ciano. Scorzani is required to provide a comprehensive report to Hitler, detailing his entire operation from inception to completion. This report likely presents Scorzani's actions in a favorable light. 2 days later, On September 17, 1943, Scorzeny departs from the Wolf's Lair and returns to Italy via aircraft to rejoin his men. As a reward for their successful mission, they are granted permission to embark on a motorized march through Italy, traversing the picturesque southern Tyrol region on their way to Innsbruck. From Innsbruck, they continue their journey by train to their headquarters in Friedenthal. After the successful completion of Unternehmen Eiche, Heinrich Himmler seizes the opportunity to use the operation as propaganda for the SS, overshadowing the contributions of the Fallschirmjäger involved. Because of that fact, Major Otto-Harald Mors is deeply frustrated by Himmler and Scorzeny's appropriation of all credit for the mission, despite Scorzeny's early mistakes that could have jeopardized its success. Mors voices his discontent to General de Vlieger Kurt's student, who escalates the issue to General Feldmarschall Hermann Göring, head of the Luftwaffe. Unfortunately, Göring takes no substantive action in response. With Hitler himself crediting Scorzeny and the SS commandos for the operation's success, there is little room for dispute. General Feldmarschall Göring advises the Fallschirmjäger to refrain from challenging Scorzeny's account and to let the matter fade away. General de Vlieger Kurt's student, recognizing the complexity of the situation, opts not to confront Göring directly, trusting that history will eventually reveal the truth. Reflecting on the incident later, Mors remarks, "Another reason why perhaps we didn't pay much attention at the time was that the Fallschirmjäger had been in plenty of action, so for us and General Student, the Gran Sasso operation was all in a day's work." In recognition of their roles in Unternehmen Eiche, several individuals receive prestigious awards. The pilot of the Fiesler Storch, Hauptmann Heinrich Gerlach, and the aircraft commander of the first landed glider, Lieutenant Elimar Meyer-Wehner, are both awarded the Ritterkreuz des Eisernen Kreuzes. Additionally, Oberleutnant Georg Freiherr von Berlepsch, Major Otto-Harald Mors, Hauptmann Languth, and 3 other glider pilots, Feldwebel Heiner Lohrmann, Oberfeldwebel Hans Gustav Nielmeyer, and Unteroffizier Gustav Thielmann, are honored with the Deutsche Kreuz in gold for their contributions. With these medal awards, we come to the conclusion of Part 2 of our 2-part series on Unternehmen Eiche, witnessing the audacious rescue of Benito Mussolini and the intricate dynamics within the German command structure. As we reflect on this episode, Unternehmen Eiche stands as one of the most daring and controversial special operations of World War II. Initiated by Adolf Hitler on July 26, 1943, the operation aimed to rescue Benito Mussolini, the ousted fascist leader of Italy, who was being held captive in the Apennine Mountains. Under the leadership of General de Vlieger Kurt's student, the operation involved a complex assault by ground troops and glider-borne forces. Alongside these units were the Fallschirmjäger under the command of Major Otto-Harald Mors and Otto Scorzeny and his men from the SS Sonderverband ZBV Friedenthal. Despite initial setbacks, including delayed takeoffs and reduced glider numbers, the operation pressed forward. Otto Scorzeny, a prominent SS officer, played a controversial role in the glider assault, his glider landing mere meters from Mussolini's location and being among the first to reach the hotel where the Duce was kept. After locating Mussolini in the hotel and bringing him out, the operation concluded with Mussolini's evacuation via a light aircraft piloted by Hauptmann Heinrich Gerlach. Despite a precarious takeoff, the aircraft successfully transported Mussolini to safety. However, the aftermath of Unternehmen Eiche was marred by controversies over credit and recognition. Scorzeny's account of events clashed with eyewitness testimonies and photographic evidence, leading to disputes over his role in the operation. Despite the controversies, key figures involved in the operation received commendations for their actions, including Otto Skorzeny, Major Mors, and the some Fallschirmjäger under his command. The mission showcased the audacity and resourcefulness of Special Forces units during World War II, leaving a lasting legacy in the annals of military history. Join us next time as we uncover more remarkable stories of special and specialized forces from the annals of World War II. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of the human will. This is the Special Forces in World War II podcast, signing off. And that concludes this mission briefing, fellow warriors of knowledge. We've navigated through the trenches of information, delving deep into the battlefields of history. As we wrap up this episode in our campaign for understanding, remember that knowledge is your most potent weapon. Stay vigilant and keep sharpening your intellectual arsenal. We'll rendezvous again for another episode, continuing our relentless pursuit of enlightenment. Until then, keep your mind sharp, your curiosity burning, and your determination unwavering. Simultaneously, you are hereby alerted to our outposts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, fortifying our information dissemination. Should you possess any pertinent intelligence to bolster our mission, transmit your findings with no hesitation. Your contributions shall be prominently acknowledged within the operational archives. Furthermore, for those prepared to provide substantial reinforcement, navigate to our Patreon forward base and enlist. Your support is integral to sustaining our forward thrust. Carry forth the legacy. Dismissed.